Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of To Be Seen, a space where stories become mirrors and conversation becomes a way home to yourself. I'm your host, Kamsi, and I'm so excited to have you guys again, and especially for today's episode because, as you can already see, I have someone special on today's episode. My guest, you're not really a guest, but my amazing husband.
Amazing.
I say amazing a lot,
I
right?
say amazing every time.
Like I need to get new adjectives on my roster because
Yes.
what brilliant,
What a
incredible,
limited vocabulary.
what a no you just came over and insulting me.
This is not how I am normally. I'm usually very supportive.
Okay, so my incredible, incredible, wonderful. You see, you like this
Super.
one? Superb husband.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I feel like I don't know if I'm going to ever be able to even say anything in this interview because I just want to smile. I'm just smiling because I can't believe you're here. Are you
I'm
here?
trying not to laugh. Okay.
People are probably wondering why we're laughing. What's funny? Nothing is funny, but you guys understand that this man being here today is, you know what they say, proof of God's goodness and mercy. Because this is not him. Okay, let me introduce you because not everybody knows who you are. In today's episode, we have my wonderful husband. His name is, you want to introduce yourself?
No, you can say it.
Okay.
You introduce every other guest, so
You're not a guest.
well, you introduce every other person that's
Okay. Let me do the honors. We have my incredible husband, which I call Babe, but to other individuals out there, his name is Chukudera, and he is just honestly the best person out there. But let's not even get into that. But he for a lot of people, you see To Be Seen, we've been putting out episodes for a bit, and even before that, like just me putting out videos on Instagram or even photos from way back when, like the person who has always been behind the camera, like the person who has been the one that powers so much of what I do. Anything content-wise, technical-wise, anything life-wise, this is him, right? And he's a wonderful creative director. He's an amazing photographer, videographer, entrepreneur. He's one of those people that just does it all and does it all very well. And also one of the kindest people I know. And yeah.
to you. I'm kind to everybody. That was a joke.
Says you. But it's really good to have you. It's really, really good to have you.
Thank
Are
you.
you excited to be here?
I am. I'm more surprised than excited because I didn't think this day would come that I'll be in front of the
You
camera.
didn't think that this day would come that you would be talking to your wife on camera?
No, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Honestly, I think that it's good that it's happening here because I don't see where else you'd have done this.
Yeah, this is like a good testing ground.
Yeah.
If this doesn't go well, never doing this in my life again.
No, actually, this is not your first time in front of the camera. The first time was on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
That's so true.
That was
When I had
20 decades ago.
100 billion years ago, like I had a YouTube channel when I was in university.
Please
and
don't go and look for the video.
No,
Please.
don't worry. I've archived the video.
I'm begging.
I've archived the video, and we did when I was in university. I think it was around 2017 or so.
Yes,
and
probably even 16.
maybe 16 or something. Well, yeah, we did a video. My boyfriend does my natural hair, and then I used to put out natural hair videos on YouTube. Like this feels like a century ago, but it was just in university, and yeah, we did like all the challenges back then. Like, oh, my boyfriend does my makeup, my
Yeah.
boyfriend does my voiceover. So you did my hair and you blew out my hair, and that was like the worst day of your life because you're like, why are you making me do this? But it was fun, and I love watching that video because we're kids then.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. Let's not jump. Let's not jump. We're probably going to talk about that.
But yeah, so I have a lot of things that I want to talk to you about on this episode. I have a lot of things that I want to talk to you about, but I think this sounds very obvious. But do you have any idea what we want to talk about today?
I'm sure it has to do with relationship and I don't know, mushy stuff. Sha.
What do you mean mushy stuff?
all this love stuff. Oh God.
So
Am I right? Am I right or am I
What if I
right?
came here to talk to you about physics or the state of the current affairs in Nigeria?
I would actually like that. I would actually like
You would
that.
actually prefer that.
Yes.
But I'm so sorry. Unfortunately for you, you have to talk
Yeah,
about
I've
love.
made, I've made my peace with that.
We've heard to talk about lessons on love, right?
wow.
And I mean,
That's even more on the nose than I thought.
I'm sorry, but like, I mean, it sounds so obvious. Like, who would have figured out that? Oh yeah, husband and wife talking about love. Like, nobody could have seen that coming. But yeah, it is what it is. I felt like there was so much that we could like, I guess, really unpack and talk about
Yeah.
when it comes to like love and relationships and just what we've learned from our own journey. You know, what?
My mouth is paining me from smiling too much. I have to.
Okay, now be serious. You have to just be calm, so people can know that we're a serious couple,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
very adult, mature couple.
Power couple.
Power,
Power.
power, power to the people. Okay, so I want us to talk about obviously lessons on love and just a lot of things. I think you're one of the, and not even just jokes, not just because you're my husband, but you're one of the wisest people that I know genuinely.
wow.
You're one of those. You're very soft spoken in public, so a lot of people do not know that you have a lot of opinions. A lot of strong
quite a few.
opinions on every single thing. Like, I don't think there's anything that you don't have an opinion on,
Quite a few.
and you are one of the most knowledgeable, to be very honest, people that I know. I've always said this to you. I know you're always like, oh my God, also acting all humble, but like, you genuinely are a very, very wise person. And I think that there's so much that I've learned from you, so much that anyone listening to this would also learn from you.
Yeah,
and
I hope so.
this definitely is not going to be the only episode, but don't worry. Like, next time I'm not going to be talking about love, but I just feel like it's your first episode here. I mean, what would it be if we don't talk about our journey? Because
Yeah.
what a beautiful journey, guys. Like, do you know that I've been with this man this month will make it 11 years. Yeah. 11 years. Yeah. Married for 3, but 11 years. That's crazy. This year, at the end of in October, is 4 years. Where does time go to?
Yeah, it seems like, doesn't seem like yesterday, but it seems like a few months ago. It seems so recent, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't even say we're kids, but like, we both started dating it was my first year of university, and we were so young. I was 18. Yeah, I just turned 18. You
was 20.
you were 20, yeah, and yeah. So I think you were turning 21, like some
No,
months.
actually, we met when I was 20.
Yes.
Say yes.
Yes. But actually, that's a good place to start. That's a good place to start. I want to know about how, I mean, I know how we met, but when you first met me, what drew you to me? I mean, I want to talk about like how we met, and I guess I'm going to share my own experience of how we met. But I want honest answers, mind you, because I feel like
Yeah, I was planning to lie before, but now that you've told me you wanted honest answers, I'll try and be honest.
okay, yeah. What was the first thing that drew you to me when you met me?
Aside all the ads that I got of you from my friends before I met you,
Ads, not ads.
yeah, there was a lot of what word do people use? Good statements about you from, I'm sure if these guys are watching it, they will know. Mo, Ahmed Fani, there was a lot of things that I heard about Kamsi. Yeah.
Okay.
She was the hot cake in school. If not, it's not obvious already. So there was a lot of things I heard about you, and when I eventually met you, I think the first time I met you, I was kind of in a weird funk. I wasn't really aware. But I think the second time I saw you, I was just taken aback as to how, this sounds very cliche, and I apologize. She was just different. She was just very,
Oh
I'm
my
going to go
gosh.
into how she was different, but she was just different from,
I was just
very-
different. You're talking to me. Why don't you talk to everybody else but me?
she was just different from, the other people that I saw. She was such a beautiful girl, actually quite distractingly beautiful. She was such a beautiful girl, but she didn't act like she was so hyper aware of her beauty. If guys are watching this, I'm sure they will understand what I mean. Like there was a subtle, how do I put it, down to earthness, if that's a word. There was just this, I'm beautiful, but I'm Kamsi. I'm Kamsi first before a beautiful girl. I don't know if that makes sense. So you were very, very accessible and very, very humble, very, very, very easy to talk to, actually. Quite easy to talk to. I don't know, maybe that was me or that's how we were with everyone, but I asked around. I asked around.
That's how it was. Or how I am, I guess.
So yeah, I think that drew me first. And I think one other thing that drew me to you was your laugh. Yep. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you.
Try to hold it back. Contain yourself, my dear.
Yes.
Contain yourself.
I think that laugh is still on Instagram.
Yeah, I think that's like one of my
Yes.
first videos
First
on
post
Instagram,
on
like
Instagram.
2015 or.
Like that laugh did something.
What is it about this laugh?
I started a whole 11-year relationship because of a laugh. Yeah, but that laugh was quite.
What about that laugh? Let's hear about it.
It was just very, very.
People are making notes. Change my laugh.
It was very, very real. That kind of drew me to you.
So interesting. Laugh. My laugh.
Yeah, you laugh.
I mean, I guess personality, all the different. That's so sweet. I mean,
No, I didn't know you then.
yeah. Okay, so, yeah.
How would I have known your full personality? I didn't
Wow.
know you.
This is so funny because I literally used to feel like people used to tell me then I laughed like a generator at that time in my life.
I mean, it's not a lie. It wasn't a lie.
So yeah, I'm laughing like a generator. As one they're like,
Yeah, that's the whole point of it.
that's so beautiful because guys, if you have a generator laugh, you too can find love. You too can find love. Someone will love you for a generator laugh. And but you've actually told me that before. You've told me about how, you felt like, yeah, you just felt like I was easy to talk to, I was easy to connect
Something
with.
pure and just honest about our conversations then.
Oh, that's so sweet. Should I tell you what drew me to you?
Oh, please, pray tell.
I mean, I feel like, to be honest, like
Aside how incredibly handsome I was, but
stop now.
see something less obvious.
He's joking, guys.
I am joking.
I mean, not like he's not handsome, but like I feel like some people might not understand your humor because you're very sarcastic. But that's, by the way, why am I explaining your humor for you? I don't know. Why do you keep on breaking the fourth wall? Why do you keep on looking at the
Okay,
camera?
I should stop because those are the people that are watching us now. Okay.
We're having a conversation.
I'm going to just look at you.
You have been doing like as if we're in one sitcom. It's like,
I'm going to start looking
yeah,
at
just look at me. Just look at me. I mean, so, or if you want to look at them, I don't know, but look at me. Look at me. Look at me. So, okay, so yeah, what drew me to you when I first met you? Quite a number of things, to be very honest. I feel like I was very drawn to your. This sounds very, very like strange. I mean, not strange, but I was very drawn to your demeanor. And what I mean is that, you were handsome, but like I've seen other handsome guys. It's not necessarily handsomeness that usually draws me to people. So something about them, I guess some people will say these days like, all right. But it's not all right.
We didn't have that word.
We
I mean, it existed as a word,
yeah.
but
not the way that we use it now. But so not all right in that way, but in the sense that like we're sitting down in it was Longston. Yeah. And then we had obviously we had mutual friends. And, Longston was a cafe in our school. And then you were sitting down there, you were so quiet. And everyone else was just talking, like, boisterous. I'm more of, like, a talkative person. I was talking. And you were just there, like, just sitting and observing and just watching. And, you were Nigerian, I was Nigerian. Like, all of our friends, none of them were Nigerian. Aside from TJ.
Yeah,
like,
TJ.
Yeah. Then all of them were not Nigerian. So it was like, oh, okay, this is my person. Like, so I expected that immediately we'd just start talking immediately. And you just be like, hey, but you were just watching and you were just chill. And I was kind of just drawn to, maybe I have a thing for
so
like
you're a mysterious
I love
guy.
it, mysterious. I love the mysterious aura. But like it's almost that kind of thing of like you made me curious about you. Like I'm not gonna say, oh my god, I saw it, I was like, oh, like this is the person I want to be. But I was curious, I was drawn to the mystery about like, oh, he was quiet. Like I like that. I like that sense of like, okay, you're not that you shouldn't talk. I mean, right now you talk all the time. You talk a lot. To me, anyways. Yeah, to me, not really that much as externally. So you're like an onion that I had to peel, and we peeled each other. That sounds so wrong, but that's anyway.
Pause.
What the heck? But anyways, so see, every other episode I've been so demure, and
You know what? Let's try and be serious now.
Okay.
Okay, go on. It's not gonna work.
Okay. Anyways, so I was just drawn to you, and then of course, like that was like the first thing that drew me to you. But then, of course, beyond that, we had conversations, and then the more we spoke, the more we talked. Like the first time we had a proper conversation, like you never forget that. Do you remember that day, that time when we were on that restaurant up, and we spoke for like 12 hours straight.
I know that sounds weird and unrealistic, but we did.
The first time we had a proper conversation, like let's sit down to talk, and it wasn't like it was a date. We were just eating. We were just talking.
We were literally on the roof of, I think, Alpha Block C.
Yeah.
Was it C?
Was it C? It was D.
office. It was.
Yeah.
We didn't have a letter.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
office. They
It was
just called
office,
it our
yeah.
farm office.
Yeah. And then we're just talking, and then I just felt like I'd never felt. I'm naturally a very closed off person. I'm not someone that immediately like lets people in or just trusts easily. I'm not like that.
Yeah, but you told
with
me your
friends.
whole life
I
story
told
that
him my biography. I said my biography. I wrote my. I said, take, have my biography, please. Do with it what you will. I don't know, like, and that's not me at all. So that already was like a green flag in my head. I'm like, why did I feel so comfortable with this person? Where I felt like I just felt so safe with you, and I think you said the same.
Yeah.
And all, you just felt so safe with me, and the rest they say is history. But
Yeah.
we just kind of just hit it off, and it's very weird. I'm sure you remember this, but like from when we first started talking to when we started dating, do you remember how long it was?
I would say 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks. It was like 2 weeks, and literally, that was it. It was 2 weeks, and that was my first. That was
2
my
weeks till
first
today.
boyfriend, my first boyfriend ever in my life, and 11 years later, still together. Yeah, crazy.
Wait, let me ask you a question. Let's switch roles here. Would you say, is there any part of the reason why you are still with me, you were with me for this long, that has something to do with the fact that I was your first real boyfriend, first boyfriend?
Definitely not. I would say, like, the fact that you were my first boyfriend made me want to, no, definitely not. Because the fact that you were my first boyfriend, it was like, obviously that very, very easy young love where it's like you've not had a heartbreak, they've not showed you shege, you have not eaten breakfast. So your eyes were just full of promise and all of that. So there was that aspect of, it was so much easier. Like you were not burdened with like how life would make you start being extremely cynical about relationships. So I entered into it with so much heart and so much whatever it is. So it was that, but my eyes were still very wide open.
Yeah.
You remember how I was then?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
I was someone who was extremely, like, I had extremely high standards.
And values and
Yes.
almost principles, to be honest.
Yes, principles.
And funny thing is, I did ask a couple friends, and they kind of basically echoed, what we're saying now. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Kamsi, don't worry, Kamsi knows what she wants. There was that.
Yeah.
All your friends kind of knew that, oh, Kamsi stood for something.
Yeah.
Actually, that's part of why. Yeah, that's part of, yeah.
Part of why you were
Yeah.
drawn to me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. But yeah, like I just,
Positive testimonies about you.
oh, yeah. That's really like heartwarming. But I feel like, yeah, that was just, so there was that sense of your newness and that new love and, young love. But I was still very, very, like, my eyes were very open because I don't know, like, from a very young age, weirdly, I've never thought about relationship as, okay, oh, I just want to have a nice relationship. I just see how this thing goes. I just for the fun of it. Like, my very first, for me, boyfriend, if you're my boyfriend, like, I'm trying to see, like, is there a possibility of us ending up marrying? Like, that sounds dramatic for an 18-year-old to be thinking, but I had that orientation. I just had a sense of, like, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that my first relationship has to lead to marriage. It was not by force, but for me, I was looking out for traits.
Now, before you even go into it.
Yes, I was gonna have a trait that I'm like, okay, this person seems like someone that I could end up marrying, because that's for me, like, relationships are for a purpose. I don't believe in dating just for dating. That's me.
This is one of the values I'm talking about.
No, but like, and I've never believed in dating just for dating. And so, like, if I was like, we're fully boyfriend and girlfriend, like, let's see what's possible. And I remember, funny because you were my first boyfriend, I was just like, nah, this is too good to be true. I was looking for something that would
I
make.
actually remember some statements you made that, kind of resonate with what you're saying.
Exactly. I was looking for things that would make me be like, okay, I think this is like, this was,
So
we
that
had
was
a nice run.
technically to my own disadvantage.
Yeah, I was just like, this guy, I was waiting for you to fail. Let me just tell you. I was waiting for you to fail.
Wow,
I had red biro waiting for you to fail. I was just like, where is this? Okay, what? Okay, what? Do I like? And then
sneeze the setting way.
what? Let me go and investigate it. Because I felt like I mean, you know this, but I felt like I didn't have this idealistic view of like relationships and marriage. If anything, like, it had been colored by some certain things that happened in my life. So I just felt like I wanted to get it right with whoever my partner was going to be, even from that very young age. And in my mind, I never really wanted to get married early, but I'm like, okay, like, I mean, we're together, like, let's even see where that goes and all of that. But yeah, that's one question. So I actually had a couple of questions that I wrote down because I wanted to put some things in mind. I wanted to ask you something. I wanted to grill you.
God.
I wanted to grill you. This is the
God
oven,
help me.
ready to be grilled. So I have some questions down. So I looked down just to ask the question. So at what point did you realize that I was the one for you? Like, what did you see in me that made you think, like, I want to spend the rest of my life with this young lady? And I think I want to hear this from also because of like a lot of times, like I always hear, even from social media, people always say that a man always knows. A man always knows when this is his wife. A man always knows. I mean, I want to know if that was your case. I mean, you can't speak. You are not the spokesperson for all the men in all of the world, but would you feel like you just knew?
So to be fair, at the risk of, continuously sounding cliche, I think I kind of knew. And that whole saying of a man, kind of always knows when he's with or has found the one was true. Because if you remember, there was a certain level of, I want to use a funny phrase, but I don't think that works. I wanted to say reckless abandon. But there was a level of all-inness that I was with you. You would remember.
Oh, from the beginning.
You would remember. And that was because, I don't know, I've obviously been in relationships before. Unfortunately, or fortunately for me, she wasn't my first girlfriend. But there was just something. Now, that something is partly intangible. But if I could explain it, I would say there was just how do I say? There was just a feeling of completeness that I felt. Oh, wow, that's very cliche. There was just a feeling of completeness that I felt with you. And I think you are the first person, actually, not even just relationship or girl. You are the first person that I actually opened up to. I think everyone that I've ever been with, they are not plenty. They are not plenty. They are not even up to 4 or 3. I feel like I have to clarify because it seems that, wow, he has been around. Nope, I haven't. Anyway, so there was a sense of freeness. I've never been. I'm sure you too. The person you met on the first day. Yes, yeah. I wasn't a totally different person from after we were together for a while. But you would see a level of openness that I had with you that I didn't have with anybody.
I wouldn't even have known if you had that with anyone. But all I know is that I felt super open with you because you also felt super open with me.
Exactly.
Like it was like we met each other and
all the walls were I used my own hand and demolished them while in the relationship. I'll give an example. So I'm not someone that talks a lot, as you do know, and while dating you, I discovered that I actually like talking. I discovered
a lot.
Yeah, I discovered that I actually like talking, and that was actually me because all the while before I met you, my whole life down to childhood, I talk a lot, but inside my head. You understand? And then when I met you, it's as if I now finally found somebody that I could talk very freely with. Without, that forming, without trying to maintain steeze and composure. Yeah, I was kind of, without trying to, put up appearances. Like I lost all of it. Like I tore it down. And I think that's a huge part of why I felt like, nah, this baby is the one that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. I would say less than a year, even a few months into the relationship, I started having, this thought of ending up permanently with you. So I wouldn't say it's that long. Even before we started dating, that was already, I don't want to lie and say I was thinking of marriage, but I was thinking of a more long-term, thing with you. Yeah. Because I already got to know you. Remember, the 2 weeks before we started dating officially, even though, we started dating officially, we did a lot of talking.
Yeah.
A lot of talking. So I kind of knew who you were already. Like I kind of, knew.
You know what's funny? What I just remembered when you just said about after a few weeks of dating. In fact, like from when we first started talking, and I had that like how many hour conversation, like 12-hour marathon conversation into the night, like literally into the next morning, like from
like the sun actually
the sun rose,
the sun set and rose,
and we're still talking. And then it was like we now realized, oh my gosh, 12 hours have passed. Like it didn't feel like that. I can't even tell you what were we talking about? Do I know? I have no idea. I just know we're talking about everything and anything. And you know what's funny? Like there was a point when this 2-week period we said that we started
outside
dating.
Actually, we were outside.
Yeah, we're outside. We're outside. So like, and I remember the moment when I was like, wait, is this person my boyfriend? Like, are we there? And the thing is that because we were so inseparable, we're seeing each other every day, we're spending so much time together, right? And there was a point when I think I asked you, I didn't say what are we because I hate that question, but I said something like, what exactly, where are we going with this? Like, 'cause I wanted to kind of like have that sense
Yeah,
of
I remember my
clarity.
answer.
And yes, I don't know if you remember, but I'm going to say what I remember your answer to be. And you were like, I mean, are you already my girlfriend? Am I not your boyfriend? Something along those lines of like,
something
like
that.
you're
I
already
was
my
like,
girl.
I'm not
Like
doing
to you, you were
any
like
other person,
that.
so.
I'm not talking to anybody else. Like it's been you since like we started talking, and it's like, and obviously I have to give like Shakara.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, you have to make that official. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna just believe that, and then you officially ask me and to be your girlfriend and all of that. But to be very honest, I was just playing because I wanted to just be like, okay, let me just do some macho. But I felt like you were my boyfriend already at that time because it was, yeah, it was so easy. Like I had the same way you just said it, like it was so easy for you to talk to me and like talk and everything
Open
like
up.
and open up. I've always been a talker. You know
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You know this. So from my family, my mom, like I've always been the talker in the house, all of that. So it was not like talking was not like the thing that was new to me. I was comfortable talking with you. But what was new to me was I was never that vulnerable with anyone.
Yeah.
Like I was never that vulnerable. I was that friend that even my friends knew that about me before then. Like when I was still like secondary school, entry, like I would always be the friend I was there for you, but I would never really allow people to be there for me, right? I would always be the strong friend, the I'm okay friend.
I remember that kind of cause some you kind of had to allow yourself,
Yeah.
to be vulnerable.
And I think that's also one of the reasons how I knew that okay, this person is completely different because very, very, very early on, I wanted and I was so comfortable with allowing myself to depend on you. Like, like just it just felt so easy and so natural and so safe. Like I didn't have to be like, okay, like I need to. I didn't feel like I never needed to be strong for you, or I ever needed to perform for you, or I never needed to act like anything other than myself with you. Like I just felt like literally, when they say naked I have come, naked I have returned. I felt completely vulnerable in that way with you. Like it was just that, and it felt so safe, and I had values and principles that I was like, that they were so me at the time, and you were completely like aligned with my values. You were aligned with things that mattered to me and everything like that, and you never pressured me to ever do anything that I was not comfortable with. Like you were just so safe, right? You were so safe, and I think that brings me to like my next question. No, but for me, let me say before I go to the next question, like when I knew that you were the person that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I don't know if I know the moment, but I know that it
That's
was,
fair.
and I know that it was a series of confirmations from first few months in, but then it was like series of
Was there any
continuations.
of those confirmations that stood out to you?
There were so many. Like, I think for one, like I was impressed and just always so almost overwhelmed by how selfless you were with me. Like you, from a very like it seems strange now, but you used to act like you cared more about me than you cared about yourself from then. Like when it came to little things like food, little things like how I'm doing. No, I know food matters so much to me. From little things from food, little things like my welfare, little things like how I was doing with school, like my finances, little things like, what I was doing, the things that I cared about. Oh, I wanted to do a blog. Okay, you wanted to push me to do YouTube. Like you made me feel from the very first day like I was special, and there was not two of me. From the very beginning, you always made me feel that way.
You were.
You always made me feel that way, and you still do. Like it's worse now. Like it's better now, but you know what I mean. Like it's worse now in the sense that like I feel like you're more
now.
you're
The first time I met
so like, you've always made me feel that way, and it's like, and it's one of those things where we're not used to. I mean, this was my first relationship, so I had no reference point, but I just felt like you kept on showing me how good it can get. Like at the point, I'm just like, no, this. I was like, nah, there's something. What's off about this man? This man, like something about him. Like I'm sure he's going to show himself soon.
Yeah.
But you never did. You
Yeah,
never
I'm
showed
still
yourself.
hiding it. It's like,
I can't stand you. Tomorrow you come like, hello. Okay, so I can't stand you. But anyways, so I think, it takes a lot. We're talking a lot about like how you were a very, very good partner from the very beginning to me, right? And I mean, hopefully I also was to you. Yes. And, so I wanted to ask you, what do you think, about, when you think about being a great partner, what do you think it actually takes? Because we talk a lot about love and love and the butterflies and all those beautiful things and what, I love you, I love her, I love this, I love you. But then people don't talk about the work that it takes to be a great partner. I think for us, we have grown so much individually.
So much.
Like there are a lot of things that I had to work through personally, healing personally from my own issues that I had, from identity issues, from issues that just a lot of things that I had to work through, right? And even to you having to work through some certain things as well. Like I had to walk through the way I process my emotions sometimes. I had to walk through my own communication. You had to walk through your communication. You had to work through just a lot of things, right? But it takes work. And I think that because we've been doing this work for a long time, I always say right now and for a long time, honestly, our relationship feels effortless.
Yeah.
It really does. It feels effortless because it feels like as if we've kind of we have now become the people that just work and just mesh so well together. But I want to hear from you. What do you think it takes to make a great partner? And I mean, it's from your own experience and from your own journey with me.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. So I think as you were asking this question, the key word to me there was partner. So, I think understanding that this is a partnership, I think is the first step in knowing how to be a good partner.
Yeah.
You can't know how to be a good something if you don't know the meaning of that something. So to me, and I think I owe my parents a lot. I owe my parents a lot in this, in forming this mentality. I grew up seeing my mom and my dad, always filling each other's gaps. There's no relationship that is perfect, obviously, but there was just this, there was no line between roles per se, you understand? Everybody did what they had to do to make the complete thing work. And if you ask me, that's the definition of partnership.
Yeah.
And it's in the word, you asked. Like, if you look at your relationship with someone as partnership and not as, I'm allowing this guy, or I'm allowing this girl, or I'm bringing this girl under my wings. As weird as that sounds, some people think like that. I think the key word there is partnership. If you really do understand the meaning of partnership and you are willing to do that with somebody, I think by definition, you would, if you follow, definition of partnership, you would do a good job. For example, there's never been a time that I know this might sound very self-righteous, but there's never been a time that I put myself first before you.
I can definitely attest to that. That's
so
you.
Let's give an example.
Yeah.
Let's say we have, one pack of rice to eat in the house. Both of us are hungry. I would give you the pack of rice, and then whatever remains is what I will eat. Why? I'm not doing that because I just want to die of hunger or starve. But it's because I know I can do with less. Do you understand? I know that that's my superpower. Even up till now, if I can spend the whole day without eating. But I know that
superpower and weakness. Weakness.
So I know that I can do it less. And also, and this is a bit different for genders, and this is my own personal opinion. I'm not telling you guys what to do and how to live your life. I think as a guy, I'm a Christian also. So, it's important to me to model, my life after what specifically I see from Jesus. You understand? Yeah. And then if men are supposed to be, model their leadership or their love as Jesus did, you can see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, definitely.
You can see where I'm going with this. And I think if you live your life that way with someone, as a guy, I'm speaking for guys now.
Yeah.
You would almost not get it wrong. You will not be perfect, obviously, but you will almost not get it wrong.
Yeah.
Put the person first, be soft with the person, be forgiving. Basically, everything Jesus did to us
And stood for,
you kind of stand for it. And this actually goes beyond even Christianity as a whole. I'm a Christian, so I think, the perfect model is Jesus.
Yeah.
But even if you are not a Christian I would still think that model of being the man in a relationship will still work.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It will still work. So just a picture, I don't talk too much. Just picture, how did Jesus treat us?
Yeah.
From all you know, do that to your wife or your girlfriend.
Yeah.
I think that is what partnership, that's what it takes to be a good partner. And obviously, being a good partner doesn't just end at, boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's like, I think boyfriend, girlfriend is like a dating stage is like a nursery.
Yeah.
In terms of agriculture, nursery where you grow the seedlings before you transfer them to the main field. Yes, so so a nursery for
A training ground.
A training ground, yes, a training ground for marriage. So yeah,
I love that. I love I love that so much. And I think that a lot of times, like, even when people talk about, husbands and how they should treat their wives and everything like that, and particularly, as you said, from like a faith perspective, like, we forget that even the Bible tells us, like, husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. Like, it's obviously not a standard that anyone can live to, which is the reason why it's something you kind of like work towards, and by the grace of God, God helps you. But I love what you just said, because it's sacrificial.
Yeah, sacrificial.
And I think that I've also learned that even from my own side, as being a good partner as well, is you have to, it's so funny. It's you have to, and it's not reducing or diminishing yourself, but you have to think about the person. You have to consistently, and I think that's what love is. Like, a lot of times, the partnership is like being continually considerate of the other person. Like, sometimes above your own needs, sometimes above your own desires or wants. But like, sometimes it's funny how, like, for example, I don't play with food. You know this. I don't play with eating. I don't play with whatever it is. But for example, it's little things like, I'm eating and I'm plating my food, and I want you to have the bigger chicken. It sounds like this is like such a Nigerian problem, but I'm not even doing that intention. I'm not like, oh, this is my husband, I must give him the bigger chicken. It's just that I'm like, oh, okay, like, let him enjoy this chicken more. Like, it's little things like that. It's just like this sense of selflessness that shows up in partnership, and I think that's so beautiful. I love that you said that. I love that you said that.
Yeah, obviously, this goes without saying, but it requires a great deal of self-awareness. I mean, you kind of have to be self-aware to be to sacrifice for the other person, because you have to know that it is a sacrifice in the first place. Most of us, when I mean us, I mean guys, just go on living our life, buying things for our wives, or just gifting, PDA, showing PDA to our wives, and we think that is it, but you don't know that maybe you have this strong tie towards, I don't know, food or money. You can't let it go, or you expect you expect your wife to do a lot for you, or your girlfriend to do a lot for you, and there is no negotiating that. Like, whether she's sick, whether she's not in the mood, whether she's, having there's a lot of nuance that, is involved in. There's something I read somewhere, I watched somewhere, that marriage or relationships are not 50-50. Sometimes it's 100-0. Sometimes it's 10-90.
I love that. Actually.
Exactly. I saw this somewhere. So I wish I could take credit for that, because that's really smart. but I saw it somewhere. And I think I resonated with it a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's not always about, oh, I did this, so she should do this.
Yeah.
No, you are just doing this.
Yeah. And I think it even makes you get stuck on trying to prove something, and like, oh, we need to,
Yes.
Equalize it. It's not about that. It's about sometimes, like, for example, like little things like when I have cramps. You just mentioned cramps, for example. When I have cramps, cramps really, really affects me, and I get super weak. And at that time, you just become whatever you need comes.
Oh, me, I feel it's a competition. No, I think I should say this. This is actually a funny game that I play with myself.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever told you this. So whenever you are not in a physical, I'm always like this, but. When you are not in a 100% physical, state, I feel like, yes, this is the time
to show myself. To bring about my bido shaker.
No. I do feel like it's an opportunity for me to, because you're very independent-ish, even though you have become less so in this relationship.
Relationship. Oh, let's talk about that. Oh, no. Let's go there, because independence. I was such an independent person. Independent. I was very, very hyper independent. I was the model Ada, first daughter, responsible daughter, didn't need anybody, could do good all by myself, could do bad all by myself. Like, I was just fine figuring things out. That's how I was secondary school, growing up. I was that child that you didn't have to worry about or think about. Kamsi was just always good. University, I'm fine, I'm good at. But then when I was with you, and I'm still an independent person outside of us, right? But when I'm with you, I always say this thing, like, I feel like I saved my brain. It just, let me show you. This is my brain. I carry it in my hand and I just throw it in the trash bin. In the dustbin. Like,
that's okay.
No, it's not obviously. I don't mean that literally. In the sense that I'm not engaging myself.
Because
I'm
you
not putting
surgically
myself.
removed your.
No. I don't mean.
Do you feel? Obviously, it's not literal.
No, what I mean is that like it doesn't mean I'm not making effort, like actually thinking about things. Because I mean, like I'm very strategic in this relationship, but it's not that. But I mean that a lot of that sense of hyper independence, like this relationship healed that for me. Like, and I think that anybody who's listening to this, who's like that Ada person, like that's first daughter, that kind of thing. Like, I mean, I guess I think I saw somewhere that it says first daughters and first sons, like first son, like they make a good partnership.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
That's
you're a
valuable.
first son. Like, I mean, I think it's because of your character, but let's not. But like you're a first son, and like that sense of just being able to completely just lean on you, and I never feel like I have to be independent for you. At the beginning of a relationship, I used to feel like, let me not ask him to do that. Why is it? I don't need him to do that. I need to just do it. Let me do this. When you ask me to offer something, I'm like, no, let me do it. After a while, I'm just like, who do you think you're kidding? Like, just allow, like, just
Especially if the guy wants to do it.
I just allowed myself to just to be and to allow myself to enjoy the way that you like to take care of me and all of that. And I think it's so beautiful. I think that something that I've had to learn is that when it comes to relationships, allow yourself to, you and your partner, focus on each other and forget the world.
Yep.
Because I think in my own relationship, in our relationship, like I've learned that when you allow the voices of the world to interrupt you, and I particularly learned this when we're dating, you're going to start thinking, like, I remember there was a time when my issue was that am I going to get married to the only person I've ever been with? Like, what if I need to explore? What if I need to know what else is out there? What if I need to, whatever, like, and that used to be a thing that I was actually like wrestling and grappling with because of like, and it's funny because the world makes such a thing that the things that are even beautiful, that are rare, it now feels strange. Like you're like, you're married to the first person you've ever been with. Like, what is that? That's weird. Like, that's weird. Like, you have to go and explore and read the world and everything. And I think there was a time when I was actually grappling with that. But then you realize that in life, in relationships, the best thing you can do is just to be like, me, you, the world is silent. And when it comes to our relationship anyways, right? But I mean, I think a segue onto this, like this bit is this thing about emotional safety. We just talked about how, we've always felt very safe with each other emotionally. But I don't think it happened like just by accident or just happened by happenstance. No. There had to be some things that we put in place, that you put in place, that I put in place, that made us feel that way. Because I think a lot of people in relationships today, they feel like they're walking on eggshells around their partners, or they feel like they have this like almost like this anxious attachment style where they feel like they have to continue to prove their worth to their partner. Sometimes even the partner will not understand. I'm not doing anything to make her feel that way. Like why is she not secure? But then you are perpetrating things that are even making her feel that way. Yes, it's not all on you, but then are there things that you can do?
Think someone does or can do unknowingly that would make their partner feel like they are on a constant, what would you call this, hamster wheel of, trying to...
I think one thing for sure is when you're not reassuring. You're not someone that reassures your partner. Like, and I mean reassuring with words, reassuring with presence, with actions, reassuring with, for example, just even the sense of complete abandonment of, okay, like I need you to do anything to make me feel like you deserve me or whatever. It's just a full sense of like, this is me and you.
Yep. So yeah. So this that makes sense, because I was actually struggling to understand the full question, but this makes sense. And that there's something in our relationship that kind of, shows or explains why we were never caught up, or you were never caught up, trying to prove something, and I was never. There was, how do I put it? There was a very huge lack of judgment. I don't think I was. I'm, naturally super critical. It's just part of who I am. But I don't think
critical in what way?
No, critical about myself especially, and about things. I over analyze things sometimes, and that kind of just makes me...
I mean, that I know. I just want everyone else to know what you meant.
So I think there was a lack of, judgment from my part. And to be fair, we were quite young when we met.
Yeah.
So I personally did not have aside, knowing that I wanted to be with a good woman, obviously, I did not have a totally fleshed out ideal of a woman that I wanted. Do you understand? And I think that sometimes kind of causes you to put unnecessary pressure on the other person. I'll give you an example. Most times men, I can speak for men because I'm a guy. Most times
Last
men so most times men have this, I know how to explain it. Men have this job application that they have for their future spouse.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have standards. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But when they do have it so fleshed out and so super accurate, if they end up with someone and that person is not doing maybe 70% or 60% of that, they don't think, because maybe, what do you call this? Is it sunken cost fallacy?
Yes,
sunken cost fallacy. If they have been with person for a bit, they don't think they should end it, but they think they should use their hand and mold the person into that.
Yep.
And then you think the person, the girl or whoever in the other side is not noticing. That person is subconsciously under pressure.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Under pressure to conform themselves to what they can see you trying to mold them into.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And that brings a lot of pressure. Now,
Yes.
if you are a girl and maybe you laugh, you have a generator laugh. You have generator laugh. And I am a guy and I already painted this picture of a Princess Diana that I want to marry, or I want to get, I want to take her to the ball. And then maybe when I crack a joke, she's like, and then your laugh is, every time you laugh it, my face will change. And then maybe later on I'll tell you, can't you laugh in a more responsible way?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing like that?
Yeah.
You're embarrassing me in front of me. Even if you don't say it that, overtly, you would allude to the fact that tone down your laugh. Please.
Yeah.
And then what happens in the other person's mind? Every time you say something funny, they have to think before they laugh.
Yeah.
Or they have to be aware. Laughter should come naturally.
Yeah.
We are using laughter as an example. And then every time you have to laugh, you have to assess yourself, adjust your gown, polish your face before you laugh. That's an example of walking on eggshells. Do you understand?
Exactly.
Walking on eggshells around the person. And that puts an unnecessary strain to a relationship.
Yeah.
You understand?
When you're trying to make someone into something that they're not, because of it's like an image that you have in your head of who you think that they should be, and maybe like it not makes them feel as if you settled with them because they're not what you want, and then subconsciously they're not trying to, because they care about you, they're trying to mold themselves into that person. So being able to accept the person that you are with in a way that it doesn't mean that you're not trying to encourage them to be better themselves, right? Because there are ways that we can all improve ourselves, right? But then it's like you're the way you are. I love you, and I meet you where you are.
Yeah, and there's something that I've said to you recently. I say something like, if I change every single thing, maybe not me because I don't know how much I'll change about you, but if you change every single I just said that to make you happy. If you change everything you would like changed about your partner, will that person still be your partner? Do you understand? If I look at Kamsi and I change every single thing that I want to change, would you still be Kamsi?
Nope.
If you stop laughing the way you do, if you stop talking as much as you do, if you stop showing excitement as much as you do,
I'm not as passionate as
if
I
you
am.
are not as passionate about some things, if you don't care a lot about, let me use something that's actually real. If you don't care a lot about your faith, is that still Kamsi? If you don't care a lot, if you're not passionate and you don't feel like, some people feel like they have to have an emotional attachment to their job. It's just the way they are. Do you understand? So if you take that away from them, do you understand? So
it's something you always say, actually. You always talk about how sometimes like people can complain or criticize someone and like be like, oh, I wish they can just change this thing. And you not think about even that particular thing. Isn't there like a thread that actually even ties to who they are and what you even like about them?
Yes. Now, that's not an excuse to be a terrible human being.
Of course. No.
I hope we have smart listeners. That goes without saying.
Yeah, of course.
But, I feel there are some things that, and this is also a part where self-awareness comes in. Like, I am just weirdly, conscious of
The most
my,
self-aware person I know. Just say it. Let's just say it like
yeah,
that.
like I'm really conscious of
But yeah,
my
I
actions
know.
and how they affect other people, especially how they affect other people.
Yeah.
Now, if you are complaining, if you complain about something the first time, you complain about something the second time, you complain about something the third time, I would, if it were me, I would sit down and ask myself, this thing I'm complaining about, is it really important to this person's well-being and this person being a better, or is it just me specifically that has a personal issue with this? I'll give you an example. I am not a fan of the color purple, like deep. Wow. I promise you I didn't look at what you were but this is not deep purple, so yes, it still stands. So I'm not a fan of dark purple. If my wife likes wearing dark purple once in a while and I always complain about it, that's an example of something that I should step back and ask myself, is it that purple is a bad demonic color?
Yeah.
Or it's just a personal thing? And when you understand that it's just a personal thing, you should be able to let it go. Like that's how I look at this kind of thing. So that's why I'm saying it's not an excuse to be a terrible person. For example, if your wife never brushes her teeth and you're always yeah.
What kind of extreme example is that? Please, I don't want that example.
If somebody never brushes their teeth or has very bad hygiene,
Then they should.
Yeah, then they should. That's not a matter of, if who you are as a person is tied to you stinking or smelling like
then you need to
loma,
change who you are.
You need to change that part.
I'm sorry, I don't believe that but
but
self-love.
subtle variations in character, in mannerisms, I think that's what makes us different, and that's what makes this whole world in general more palatable. You understand? Imagine you woke up, and everybody's just acting the same way, or perfect, like an assembly line.
Pluribus, that movie that we were
like
watching.
Pluribus, yes. Yeah. Like,
but what's the balance, though? That's my question. Like what's the balance between being a partner that, and I love what you've said, but what is that balance between being a partner that accepts the person as they are while also encouraging them to be better where they need to be better?
Yes. So I think I already mentioned something that helps is being self-aware. Like there's something I always question my actions.
Yeah.
I always question why I do things. I always question why someone else does things. But I can never get the full answer to that because that's another person. But I try to find out. But when I'm talking about myself, I should be able to get the answer. So if you see your partner and you say, oh, I don't like this thing, pisses me off, or this thing, riles me up, you stop after a while, I'm sure, and ask yourself, why does this make me feel the way I feel?
Why does it upset me?
In doing that, you will be able to understand whether you are actually doing this because you care about that person bettering themselves or making themselves better, or you are just doing it because you just hate it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I think that's a good balance. That's like a counterbalance, being self-aware and, constantly asking yourself questions and, doing some introspection is a way of balancing, being a dictator that just wants everything done their way, or actually coming for, and guess what? The terrible example we used about your wife's mouth smelling. You're not going to say you are a dirty wife. You just stink. You just
up
stink
the whole place.
Up the whole place. I can't even breathe around you.
It's very, very weird and specific.
I promise you, I have no experience with it. I'm just saying. So yeah, you don't even come from that angle, and that's also a part of being self-aware.
Yeah.
You should find. This is even worth doing research on how to tell your wife, she needs to use roll-on, or she needs to buy perfume, or maybe you buy it for her as a gift. There's tact to these things. There's wisdom to these things. Yeah. So, yes, sir.
I think that's so
you
interesting.
guys can see that I talk a lot.
No, but that's the thing. I love that you talk not just a lot. Like it's not just a lot. You talk only about what you're interested in, actually, or you care about. But you also talk a lot to me, just about anything. But yeah, just in line with what you just said about even communication and how you communicate. Obviously, how we communicate and how we deal with conflict now, how we deal with disagreements, how we resolve issues, whatever it is, if we have a dispute about something, is definitely different, a whole lot different from how we communicated and how we dealt with conflict when we first started dating 11 years ago, right? And so we've grown a lot. We've matured a lot. to the point where we just are better communicators, better listeners. This thing we always talk about when we say that, for example, when we're dealing with an issue, it's me and you versus the issue, not me versus you, right? And even just learning about our conflict styles, like what, for example, I'm the kind of person that when I'm maybe fighting, or no, not fighting, but if we're having like a disagreement about something, like I like to communicate about the thing. I want to deal with it. I'm one of those when I'm like, I don't want us to sleep until we're done with it. But when we first started dating, you used to be the person that's like, you know what, like we don't have to. Like you kind of just want to by yourself, and then you want to come and talk about it later. But I'm like, no, I don't want that. And we had to come to a compromise where we're like, okay, like I understand that, I might not want to deal with it.
I had to come more to your
No, I
side.
think you had to come, you came to a compromise where it was like, okay, you don't necessarily want to talk right now, but you're realizing that actually I don't want to give her this space because it makes her feel, because you know personally, because of like my own personal history, like what's, for example, like being distant and all of that when we're having conflict does to me. And so you consider that, you're like, okay, you know what, like, even if I don't necessarily like this, like I'm going to come to her like, okay, let's talk. Even if I don't feel like talking, like you learn to, adjust your communication style to accommodate my own thing. And the same thing with me when I realize that sometimes like when he's not in the mood, he's not really in the mood. And it's not necessarily that he's angry or whatever. It's like I just give him some space. Like there are things that I've learned. So what would you say you have learned the most about communication styles and even like, dealing with conflict and even with disagreement in a relationship and the most productive way to handle that?
Yeah, so there's this funny thing that I do. I'm like, if earlier on in our relationship, even midway too, I always ask myself, so are you going to break up with her now? Like, if you ask yourself that question, it will make a few things clearer. It will make you understand that, okay, this is just one small disagreement.
Yeah.
In terms of the words you use to describe your feelings, the words you use to describe the other person's feelings, it will make them measured because you know that there's life after this. I know this is not something that I've heard anywhere, but sometimes when you see some couples fight, don't ask me why I know. I've seen couples fight in my presence, and I think that's just weird to fight actively, exchange words out in public. I think
we've never done that.
I think that's just one of those things that's a no. Like there's never any good reason, except you guys are planning to break up there and then. I mean, maybe that's fine.
I think it's just like privacy, like deal with these things in your
So I feel like that's something that I started doing earlier. Like if you are not going to break up with this person, or if you are not planning to break up with this person, then why would you use harsh words?
Yeah.
Why would you say these particular things? Obviously, sometimes, you could be very, very emotional, but these things, these are kind of my checks and balances in my head. Like, you're not going to break up with this person. So there are some things that you will say that when you think of the fact that you are going to wake up and still see this person tomorrow, you feel stupid.
Yeah.
Imagine calling your wife Jezebel. And then the next day you wake up, you will cook and eat together. That means who was Jezebel's husband? Was it Haman? I can't remember. I can't remember. But if she's Jezebel, what does that make you?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then if she's Jezebel, you should be thinking of running for your life or, trying to find a way out. Not
so it contextualizes it, like,
yes.
is this worth
me
doing something? And the thing is that you can never take words away. You can never take words
There's some
back.
words you say that it can never go back. Imagine you are fighting, you are having a quarrel with your wife, and you say something like, "Look at you with your big belly." Now, except she's planning.
I looked at my stomach when he said that, but I know what. I'm just joking.
Of course you are. So imagine you say some very, very harsh words. That's big belly thing. It's not even harsh. Like, I mean, like very, very specific harsh words. Especially if they are, what's the word? There's things that the person can't change about themselves.
Yeah.
So you have to explain yourself tomorrow when you tell me you love me. Do you understand? If you tell me you love me and you have already said such terrible things about about me that I cannot change, those things have not changed in 2 weeks' time. So why do you now love me?
Yeah, and
what happened to those things?
And did you mean those? Some people say that. People say, no, I'm just angry. I just said what I don't believe that. I believe that when you're angry, you have to learn, particularly with the person, you have to learn to emotionally regulate yourself. Yeah. Yes, you're angry, but count your words. Measure the impact of what you're saying, because like you said, it's not going to be taken away. Like they will not start thinking like, wait, is that what she really thinks about me? Is that what he really thinks of me?
Even if you didn't mean it.
Even if you don't mean it.
Even if you didn't mean it. It has come out from your mouth.
Yes, and I feel like we learned that very, very early in our relationship, where it's like we do not shout at each other in a relationship. We do not call each other bad words. We do not say like
call each other names.
We don't call each other names. We do not have like that is a no-go area for us.
Is even because I'm quite a passionate person when I'm talking. Is even there are some times when I'm not really necessarily shouting, but I kind of, even in slight arguments, I kind of stop and apologize for raising my voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody might see that and say, you're just such a simp, but it helps.
Yeah.
It helps.
And you're not raising your voice because you're shouting at me. You're
No.
raising your voice because you just talk loud when you're
But it
passionate.
affects, you are drowning the other person out.
Yes,
And I think that's not
exactly.
the way to get to, that's not conflict resolution. If the other person can't even hear themselves, talking. I think and this also boils back to being self-aware. Like, there's a level of awareness that you have to make your relationship work. I don't think there's any other way around it. So human beings are self-serving, and naturally, that's our default.
Yeah.
And we are naturally, I'm using the word naturally, we are naturally going to veer towards self-servingness. You understand? So if you don't consciously apply the brakes or, steer away from self-servingness, you would end up there. Do you understand? Even in a relationship that you love this person so much. So I think it's something that I used to say, there's something I say to you, life is so funny because the opposite of putting in effort is not just neutral, it's back, like it's bad, like
it's regression.
It's regression. You understand? There's nothing like stagnancy in life in general. You are going back.
Back, always. It's like if you stop going to the gym and you have been building your muscle, you start losing your muscle. It's not like you just stay.
If you stop doing the right thing, you are not just going to be, nothing bad is happening to me, nothing good is happening to me, I'm just in the middle. No. Something bad is going to start happening to you. So if you don't continually make effort to be self-aware and steering away from, that self-serving nature of human beings in general, you're going to end up there. You're going to end up there. The moment you stop, like I'm so, and I don't think everybody should be like this, but I'm so observant about, my wife, my partner, that the moment her face changes in terms of whether something bad happened or, something comes to mind, even if nothing bad happens, I pick it up immediately. And I ask, or if I don't think I need to ask, I'll mark it and maybe say it in the future or when I feel is the right time. So I don't think everybody should be doing like that, but there's a level of, self-awareness that you have to have, and you have to continually apply yourself to, knowing when to pull the brakes when you are moving towards gratifying yourself in every aspect of your relationship.
So what would you say, like in line with that, what would you say is, just even from us being together all these years, like has our relationship challenged you to be better? And in what areas?
Yeah, the immediate one that comes to mind, we have already, touched on it a bit, is communication. Communication. I am the firstborn in my family, so I just feel like I'm on my own.
Yeah.
Even, to be honest, even up till now.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, but it's something that I've grown a lot in. I don't share my problems. I'm sure.
I think it's a man thing as well. Like
yes,
it's super common amongst
it's a man
men.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a man. Like early on in our relationship, I just withdraw. That's it.
Yeah.
When
you're going through something like
I just withdraw.
Yeah.
And no communication, it's not as if I'm mean to anybody per se. It could come off like that sometimes, but I don't think I'm mean to anybody.
You just felt like I said, let me handle it.
Let me handle it. Whether it's working, whether my attempt to handle it is working or not, I just withdraw and disappear. Yeah. And I think that's something that I've changed a lot.
Oh, yes.
A lot. Like, I probably don't do it in any significant way now, to be honest. I still, even if I do it, maybe it's like for a second or like a few minutes, and then I still, come back by myself, come back and, share it. Because the truth is, as cliche as this may sound, a problem shared is half solved. I think.
Yeah.
And then if you also, back to our conversation about how to be a good partner, partnership means shared risk, shared wins. Do you understand?
Even in business.
In business, yes.
Literally.
That's what I was referring to. So shared wins, shared risk. So if something bad happens to you and you keep it from the other person, that's it's like we have a business together.
Yeah.
The business loses 500K. and then it's only me that suffers the 500k, and that's not partnership. That's
Yeah.
I don't know. You definitely have a lesser role than me.
Yeah.
You understand? You definitely have a lesser role. So I think sharing my problems, sharing what's weighing me down, and communicating things that I think you did not do right.
Yeah.
In the past, I just lock up.
Yeah.
Like
This
I
is very
just
true.
lock up.
Yeah.
Like,
Now you tell me, you're
now
like,
I'll tell you. Like,
oh, I didn't like that you
I'll
did
do-
this.
yeah.
Do not.
I'll tell you. So
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's the biggest change that I've had. That's the biggest change that I can directly tie to something that happened because and during our relationship.
Yeah.
Then communicating my lows, communicating negative things that have happened to me or are happening to me is something.
I think another thing that comes to my mind is like I've also, and I'm saying this not because I'm trying to like take that credit for it, but because you say it all the
I know
time.
what you're about to say. No, just say it. Say it.
Oh, no, I feel like you've become someone who is more hopeful,
Yes.
less cynical, more optimistic.
Yes.
You said this a lot, like
Yes,
how.
a lot. Yeah, I think that's a close second. That's
Yeah.
a very close second.
Yeah.
In fact, they're almost the same. They're almost the same. I used to be such a cynical person.
Yeah.
So cynical. Like, I always looked for the problems. Even like if they are not there, I promise you I'll find it.
Oh, yes.
I promise you I'll find it. And it will be a valid problem. It's not like I pull
Yeah.
these things out of thin air, but it affected a lot of things in my life, like and up till today, there's some residue of it, but thank God for growth.
Yeah.
I thank God for my wife. I'm overly critical about myself, about anything that I do, and about just basically anything, especially and the one that affects me the most is me being extremely cynical and critical about myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that has changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
A whole lot. Yeah,
Because
so
I mean,
those two-
I remember like just being even like from when we're younger, so young, but younger, and I just used to feel like I felt like you were just genius. And I'm not saying this because I always say this to you. I felt like you were genius. I felt like you were so smart, you were so creative, you were so talented, you were so good at your hands. Like anything, like you just put your hands in, you were so good with anything. Like he's the person that anything spoils in the house, like he's the plumber, he's the electrician, he can do anything. Like and so sometimes when we're younger, you'd look down at some things that you would do or you just do because to you it was just so casual. Like, oh, okay, I just did this. Like, what's the big deal about that? I'm like, you just did that? Like, you had such very, very high standards for yourself that you didn't really, were not easily impressed by anything that you ever did. And you always looked down and you were super critical about it. And I would always be like, babe, like, you are so, so, so amazing. My word. You're so brilliant, like you're so wonderful. And I mean, obviously I've seen you grow so much over the years and just be a lot more trusting and believing in yourself, and also just like believing in the world, because I feel like you also had this very, very like dark dark view of just the world,
yes.
like just
Yes,
almost this, and then you used to always say that, like, wow, like when we were younger, always be like, oh my gosh, like Kamsi, like you just always seem like there's nothing there, you have no problem.
Yeah, I always felt like you just felt everybody loved you, and everybody was just looking out for you and just trying to do
I was
good
very
by
trusting
you.
of like human beings, not necessarily trusting like opening up to other people, but trusting about human beings. I didn't think anyone was out to get me. Yeah, but you were always like super hyper vigilant, all of this. And the funny thing that I always say is that everything that I was deficient in, you had so much of. Everything that you were deficient in, I had so much of. Like, I truly, truly, truly believe that God puts, you said it the other day about how like it's like a
jigsaw fit, yeah.
puzzle, like that's how we feel to each other. Like God literally said, you know what, like I know this my daughter Kamsi, I know the things that she needs, I know my son Chukudera, like I know what he needs, let me put these people together, they're going to help each other to become better for themselves. Like so many things that I have learned about myself, like because of our relationship, because of you, because of what you've shown me. I think if I were to think about like what are the things that I have grown so much in, like since being with you, there are quite a few actually. But the first thing that comes to my mind is I actually think through things a lot more. Like I used to be someone that just used to be very, very just like like butterfly, like not and the things that not necessarily that I was just like happy go lucky and I didn't have any care in the world. Well, I kind of didn't have any care in the world, but I started thinking more about like, okay, like implications,
Yeah,
long-term
critical,
implications,
yeah.
being more critical, being more strategic in the way I thought about things. Like, it's so funny, like you probably don't even realize it, but you've influenced a lot about how I'm even able to show up even in my work because of like, I think more critically. I'm more, conscious of a lot of things. I've become way more selfless. I think that when we started this, and I was a very selfish person actually. Like, and I'm not saying that like, I was selfish. Because I knew that I used to be the kind of person that just be like, I was just caring about myself, like what I would do for myself and the things that matter to me, maybe like the 2 people or 3 people that matter to me in my life. Like I was just very on that. But you're someone who was very, very like, you have so much compassion for other people and not just for me, but for other people. Like even people like you always be doing things, but I'm just like, okay, well, maybe I need to actually start caring about. So you showed me things about myself that even I was like a mirror. Like I was like, oh, Kamsi, like you can be more compassionate, you can be more caring, you can be more kind, without you necessarily saying, Kamsi, be more kind.
Yeah.
Just by kind of watching you, and like I learned that. And also, I think even with this thing you said about like, are we going to break up? Like I used to feel like we cannot have like if we have any argument, I want to like I'm just like no, let's not have any. But I've learned that life. Sometimes you have things that you do not understand.
It's always going to be conflict.
It's always going to be conflict in one way. It doesn't have to even be something big, right? But then it's okay to sit with that and be like, okay, it helps you to be better. I wasn't comfortable in discomfort. Yeah. But you're someone that is very, very comfortable. Not necessarily you're like, oh, you're looking for discomfort, but you're like, let's just find the answer by looking at the problem. I used to completely ignore the problems. Yeah. And so you helped me to be able to see the world in a way that was more like balanced, but like still hopeful, still believing, but like allow myself to
and likewise,
really see.
So likewise, I've actually become a lot more optimistic, hopeful, and just I have like a more Kamsi lens to the world. I'm a bit less cynical, and especially towards myself. Like me being over critical and over cynical in the past has kind of made me slow to take action or to put something out or start something. And then I think you have rubbed off on me very positively there, because like now I'm like, you know what, doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I feel cringe saying that.
Yeah, you used to be a perfectionist. I mean, you still are, but you're a recovering
so
perfectionist.
yes,
Like you,
recovering,
because you used to have like very high standards of how you did anything, and so if you don't think that it was like according to your very high standards, you just feel like there's no point of putting anything out there. It has to be at your best. But whereas now, just more so like you have this more of like a bias, to just act and do things because of that. And it's the perfectionist came from a place of like I want things to be perfect, but now it's more so like I'm going to do things, and then as time goes on, it gets more and more perfect, but that's still part of it. But I think one thing that I wanted to talk to you about actually is, on social media in like our digital world today, like there's a lot of conversations about dating, marriage, relationships. It's like, in fact, there's a point when I used to be on Twitter. I'm not really on that Twitter app anymore, but like when I used to be on Twitter every day, I don't have the app. I don't have it again, but like I used to always, every day, new conversation about relationship, about dating, about what someone brings to the table, what someone does not bring to the table. Like, it was exhausting. So exhausting. I was over it, the conversations on dating and marriage. But I think, what do you think is missing from the conversations today when it comes to love and relationships and partnership? What do you think is missing from the table that people don't necessarily talk about or they misconstrue? Right? And what would you say about just the narrative that exists today about dating and just marriage in general?
I'm sure if I think about this longer, I'll have a lot more to say, but I would still, I'm going to be repeating myself here, but I would still say the partnership aspect of relationship is kind of overlooked. Now, I know we had a leg up in the sense that we started dating before some of these conversations really mattered. I'm not even talking about before they started being talked about, but before they actually did matter in our lives.
Yeah, because we're literally just university figuring our life out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of these conversations did not matter at the time. And also that would limit how much I can even speak on this, because I tend to like to speak on things that I have some level of authority on or some level of, but I would say the partnership aspect, based on what I've heard, there's this
Transactional.
Yes, exactly. There's this overly transactional way that people look at relationship. It's like you bring this, I bring this. You bring this, I bring this.
You do this for me, I
you
do this for you.
me, I do this for you. And the problem with that is that the only thing constant in this life is change. That thing you brought at the beginning may not exist 2 weeks, 1 month, 1 year, 2 years from now. Okay. So if you build your relationship based on those things people are bringing to the table, when they are no longer there, what happens?
Bam.
Do you understand? Like, let's give an example. You are a man. You work in NMPC. You work in NMPC and maybe your salary a month is like, let me use a reasonable one. I was going to say 20 million or 50 million a month, but let's say like 10 million a month. And, as a woman, in your transactional, checklist, one of them is your husband should have so amount of. Some people are very, very specific of the exact amount of money monthly. I put it to you. When that man no longer has that avenue of money, what happens?
Yeah.
Do you understand? What happens? Secondly, for men, you are a man and you feel like your wife must cook for you fresh. I've heard this is coming to me as a shock. But I heard this recently, that some men cannot eat warmed food. Now, see, I'm not going to tell you what to eat and what not to eat. It's your business.
Yeah.
But it's just that maybe I'm lazy. Maybe both of us are lazy. But I don't imagine
that sounds like a very, very sad life
where you have to cook big meals every single day. It's okay as a man if you like that. And guess what? I'm not even saying that there's a particular formula. If you and your wife have reached a position where she understands that you need to eat fresh meals every day, she has no problem with it.
With dietary reasons.
Dietary reasons or even just preference reasons, but you people have agreed. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
But if you, as a man, that's one of the criterias for you being in a relationship or for you liking the woman, at some point that will stop, because I don't see that as being sustainable. Yeah. Some people even go as far as you cannot hire cook.
Yeah.
You cannot buy the meal fresh. You must make it with your own hand. I know that this is extreme, but it does exist. Yeah. I've literally heard this happen. I've literally heard a guy that has these preferences.
Yeah.
So now the moment she's not able to live up to that standard, what happens? Except if it's written in your marriage contract that, from some people want a wife that has, what did they, figure 8.
Yeah.
I mean, figure 8 is kind of vague, but has a very, very specific shape of body.
Yeah.
There's age.
Yeah, there's pregnancy.
There's pregnancy.
Sometimes people's bodies change.
What if I don't want to go to the gym again? What if I have a health reason that doesn't make me go to the gym again? So now, do you say, so if you keep basing your whole life and your relationship based on those things you claim you guys bring to the table at the beginning, that's not what's going to sustain your relationship. It's partnership that's going to sustain your relationship. And what does partnership look like? Showing up when you have to, as much as you can. Simple. Like, you wake up in the morning, I will give my 100%.
Yeah.
Whether or not my partner gives their 100%, it's not really the case.
And it's a beautiful thing when both of you think like that, because you're not both missing each other. Yeah, you should.
If not, someone is leeching off the other person.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is missing, in my own opinion. The rest I cannot really speak on, because we didn't, our own situation was kind of, but I know this sense of partnership, this sense of oneness, this sense of us against the problem, us against the world, you know, having no specific trait that, is the main reason why you're with this person, I think is and I'm so grateful.
I mean, I think that that's not the way I think. Like, I'm not a transactional person the way I am with relationships, whether it's friendship, whether it's partnership. I wouldn't have been that person. However, I'm grateful that we met at a time when that was not something that was on the table. Why? Because it allowed us to really just fall for ourselves. We fell for our character. We fell for our values. We fell for
values. If you are going to have to use a yardstick to measure the other person, use values.
Yeah. And also we were friends. We still are friends. Like, I think something I was even saying that I've seen recently, I guess that is one of my observations on like the dating culture today, is that I feel like sometimes like people are not dating their friends. They're like, to them, it's like, well, this is my partner, this is my person, and I end up, maybe I get married, this is my husband. And then it's like, there's this role, this title, and then the title comes, but there is no relationship in the way of friendship. And so you know the person as your wife, one day the bearer of your children, you know the husband as your husband, the head of the house, all these different titles.
That thing takes me off when somebody introduces their wife as the mother of my children. I'm like, that's not what she was first.
They remove the individual. Do you understand? Exactly. Yes. A lot of times they remove the individual about that. So when people have that perception of people as things, or as bearers of things, or as vending machines of things, that is, you've lost me then. You've lost me there, right? Where you don't see the person as a person. Of course, you're going to have quote unquote roles that you're going to play, like naturally, right? But if you are coming to the person because of the role that they are going to play, we lose that, that selflessness that we talked about, that partnership, because it's all about you. Me. What can I do? What can I get? What can you give me?
To benefit you.
Exactly. What can you, and it's what I see a lot in dating culture today is so much selfishness. Like, so much. Nobody's perfect, of course, but it's like people are just looking at to date a woman or to date a guy just to get. And it's like they're losing sight of that you're coming to do life with this person. And so, for example, like, there was something that we were talking about one time. I remember how we talk about bro, like, when we used to, before we were married, right, we were together for, I think, like 6 years, because obviously we started dating in early university, so I think we were together for like 6 years before we got married, or was it almost 7? Yeah, almost 7 years. And then, one thing I used to always be worried about was, okay, when we got married, like, what would that look like? Because all I had seen was marriage in like culture, and like marriage in like things I had seen growing up, upbringing, whatever it is. And I was like, that just seems so serious. That doesn't seem like me or like us. And I'm not telling you that, like, genuinely, I have a genuine fear of marriage. Like, I used to talk about that a lot. And I'm not even going to go into that today because it's a whole other conversation. But I had a genuine fear of marriage. And I was just like, oh my God, like, marriage just feels so scary. And I remember I'll talk to you about it and you just be like, are you sure, Kamsi, you're not borrowing other people's definition of marriage? Like, it's us. We're still going to be us. I think it would be new things that would be involved in what marriage would have. Yes, but it is me and you still. And that friendship, that partnership, that sense of us, that was not going to change. And then we're not going to borrow other people's ideals, other people's mentality, other people's roles, definitions, guardrails of marriage, because then what we now do is that we now create something that is not us and has never been us. Imagine if we got into a marriage and I started coming here and kneeling down to you and saying, my Lord, won't you even leave me? Because this is not who I married.
Even you just saying that now.
Traumatized, right? But it's like there's this Nigerian culture of marriage that we just knew that was not us. Like, we were going to be friends.
Yeah, and it's okay if you and your wife agree that she'll be calling you Lord. I mean, as you want,
whatever. Of course, like whatever floats your boat. Like, for me, and also for me, exactly. Another thing is that what we want, what we desire is not the same thing as another couple desires. And that's fine for you, but it has to be a thing that both of you are aligned with, which is the reason why values matter. So I wanted to ask you, like, so what do you think people should act, what do you think is the most important thing to look out for in a partner? Would you say is friendship, or just shared values, or like, shared temperament? Like, what would you say is the most important thing to look for?
I would say values. Again, there's something that I saw, I read it probably. I'm sure I'm not going to get this 100%, but if you and your wife can agree on faith, money, and how to raise your children, I think you guys are, on the right track.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure there are more things that are important that are not on that list, but the key factor there is values.
Yeah.
I kind of touched on it before, but yeah, it's values. Values, I'm not going to go into this because it's not a philosophical thing, but values...
No, I want to hear that. I want to hear.
I am of the opinion that we do not create our own values for ourselves. And that's, if I can explain it if I have to go into it, but I promise you I can't right now.
Yeah.
Your values are something that you cannot lie to yourself, because if you could create your own values, you just create whatever works for you.
Yeah.
But whenever you go against your values, you feel something pricking you. I don't know if you feel, I can't explain, but you feel,
of course,
you feel
I know
something.
exactly
That means your values are kind of almost untouchable.
Yeah, intrinsic to you.
Intrinsic, exactly. Intrinsic to you. It's intangible, but it's intrinsic to you. So I
Some
think
things influence your values,
exactly,
like your faith and all that.
But but they are still
things that
at the core of you, it's like the bedrock of you.
Yeah.
So I think values, alignment in values is a huge part of knowing whether you are going to work with someone.
Yeah.
Because there are some things that if you disagree on, it might work at the beginning. But as you go on in life, you start seeing that, what was I thinking?
Like this is a non-negotiable for me. Like,
And then in terms of values, you can't just up and change someone's values. You can't just, I hope that his values will change in the future.
a lot of people get married to potential as opposed to what they see.
Never
get married to potential.
What you are, even if this person has the potential of being whatever in the future, marry what you are seeing now.
Be okay with the fact that, like, if this person I'm looking at right now, if the person never changes. People grow, people evolve. But don't bank on that.
Yes.
Assume that this person has the R right now. This is who I'm going to end up marrying. Am I okay with that? That should be.
If you are not okay with that, please don't do it.
Don't do it.
Please don't do it.
Don't stress somebody's son or somebody's daughter.
Just don't do it.
Right. So if you, values is one of the most important
Yes.
things. I think definitely values for me also. Values in a lot of ways, like in terms of like how we see the world, some things that matter, so some non-negotiables, some things when it comes to faith, some things that when it comes to even the like belief systems, and also for me, friendship. Like, I mean, there's a lot of other things, character, obviously those things go without saying, but for me, friendship as well is so high on my list because I need to, like, life is long, oh. Do you know life is long? You're doing life with this person. Like, I need to be able to sit, like, laugh with you, enjoy your own company, like, genuinely like you.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, it's one thing to love a person, but it's another thing to like a person. I think one of the reasons why I feel like our relationship is genuinely effortless, to me, like, and to us, is because we like each other. Like, we wake up in the morning and, like, I'm like, this is my husband. Like, this is my wife. Like, we enjoy each other's company. We like to laugh together. We're both homebodies. We like to spend time. We like to be alone at home together. We like to go out together. We like to live, just like each other, right? And it makes it a lot easier when you have to start making these bigger life decisions and all of these different things because I like you. You like me.
I like you too.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I feel like we've been talking for forever, and I don't want us to like make this conversation like 500 million hours, but one last question I have for you. One very, very last question. And I think that it speaks to, keeping love alive. We've been together for 11 years, and to be very honest, I think we said it earlier in this conversation, but like, we've said it so many times to each other that we love each other now than when we first started because we've grown more. We've gone through so many things together. We have when people talk about the excitement fades, it has not happened with us.
Oh, quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite has happened with us. Like, it feels like we are in a never-ending honeymoon phase, right? Did we go through periods of relationship that were a bit difficult because of some contextual things that happened at that time?
Exactly.
Yes.
Keyword,
right.
contextual.
Yes. But one thing that has been very, very clear is when we are together, we are the best we ever are, right? And so excitement has actually increased. Adventure and desire for adventure has increased, and we've kept our love alive, right? And so what would you say is the key to you to keeping love alive? For anyone that is like thinking about, I hear a lot of people talk about how, my gosh, like, marriage is so scary. Like, what do you mean spending the rest of my life? Like, won't I wake up one morning and be like, who is this person on my bed? So how do you keep the love alive?
So again, I'm probably going to disappoint a lot of people. I'm not going to give an answer to that because I don't have one. And the reason why is because I have never had to make it, and this is me being honest. I'm not here to give advice. So
be honest, yeah.
Yeah, this is me being honest. So far, I've never had to consciously try to keep the love alive. Do you understand? I've never woken up one day and say, if I don't continue doing this or that, our love will wane. Do you understand? I just wake up every day. Oh, wow, this sounds very, very mushy. I just wake up every day, look at you. I really, really like the person that I'm looking at, and I just want to keep. One of my love languages is act of service, and I'm sure you know that. I just want to keep doing. Do you understand? I just want to keep doing. And yeah, I don't really have, what are the things? Obviously, if you ask me, I would say keep on showing up. You understand? Even when you are not. Because as much as I said what I said now, there are some times that maybe I'm not the happiest with you.
Yeah.
But I don't I go back to, I'm not going to break up with you.
Yeah.
I go back to that. And before you know it, I've snapped out of it. I'm back in my lovey-dovey,
You know what's funny? We actually barely have disagreements. Actually,
barely.
We barely have conflict.
Maybe there's just one that I can think of in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know what that one is.
Yeah.
Very funny. We're not going to share the story. It was extremely funny. It was a
It's so
nothing
funny.
burger for most of it, but
Yeah.
it just...
I think for me, like, actually, I can relate to something you've said. That's showing up. I think what I would say is just continue choosing the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think that choosing someone is not something that happens on a passive level.
Yeah.
I think it's very intentional. I think that the reason why you're saying that you don't really, because for you, it
goes
becomes
without
so
saying.
natural
Yeah.
to you to continue to choose
You're
me.
right,
but
actually.
but it's not always that natural. It's something that for a lot of people, and even for me, like, I've gotten to the point where I've chosen you for so long that it becomes a natural thing to do. But still sometimes I don't ever want to take it for granted. I tell myself sometimes, Kamsi, like, don't take what you have for granted. Like, you have a beautiful relationship, you have a happy marriage, right? And for a long time, and you know this, like, I was so terrified of marriage. And the fact that I'm in this marriage and I'm genuinely happy and it feels beautiful, I'm like, I don't want to take this for granted. I'm not going to just be like, oh, let me just, coast. I'm going to make efforts. I'm going to continue to be a better person. I'm going to choose you actively. And that will show through actions, through what I do, and through how I show up, how I appreciate you, how I pour into the relationship, how I improve my own self for myself and then for us, And so, yeah, just continually choosing each other.
Yeah, there's one that I think this is one is advice. This one is, I'm trying to advise everybody. Do not compare your marriage to outside marriages. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it, because guess what? There's always going to be a guy that took his wife to, I don't know, did heaven and earth for his wife. You will never be able to match up to the most loving in public, loving husband. So if you keep comparing, you say, oh, look at that other guy, his wife did this for him. You are not. That's the beginning of failure of the marriage.
Yeah.
So I would say just do what is right. Do right by each other. Do not compare yourself to someone outside.
My babe. Thank you for being here.
For honoring your invitation.
For honoring my invitation, because it's not easy to have the great Chuk Sama
Thank you.
on To Be Seen. And if any of you are probably like, oh my gosh, I love To Be Seen's production, this is the person that is the owner of the production house, the creative house that does To Be Seen. That is Hugh of Man. Shout out to Hugh of Man. But I love you so much.
Oh, I love you too, baby.
I love you so much. And like, one thing I always say is like, I always say, funny enough To Be Seen, but you've always seen me. Even just us, even me being able to be here today and having this podcast, a lot of it I owe to you, and the way you've continued to just honestly always encourage me, always make me see that I can be more than even what I see about myself. From the very beginning, you've always, always, always made it super easy to love you. And you made me so comfortable. And it's one of those things where we're talking about how, a love that meets you where you are but doesn't leave you where you are. That's the relationship that we've had. We both met each other, we accepted ourselves, but in a lot of ways we have, let me even speak for myself, you have rubbed off so much on me and have made me someone that is better in a lot of ways. And I love you so much. And thank you for being on To Be Seen. Thank you for allowing yourself to be seen, because this is huge for you. You don't do this. You are the behind the scenes guys. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. And thank you so much, my babe, for allowing yourself to be seen. I know this is very out of your comfort zone. So you being here, I really appreciate it. And hey. Oh my gosh, like that's our handshake, by the way. We've had a handshake since we were in university. Yeah, like probably like 10 years now. Wow. So guys, as usual. Oh yeah, people that are listening on the podcast cannot say the handshake.
Oh yeah. Sorry about
Go and
that.
watch it on YouTube.
Yes.
But yeah, so our last point of call, of course, per usual, is our journal prompts that we have at the end of every episode, just to allow you to reflect and to allow you to reflect on what we talked about and just lessons on love. And today's journal prompt is, what patterns, dynamics, or beliefs about love have you inherited that you might need to unlearn? So sit with that, and we'll see you guys in our next episode. Actually, if you want my husband to come back again for another episode, Leave your comments down below if it's on YouTube. Let us know what you want us to talk about, and I will make him come again. I will make him come again. I really, really enjoyed this episode. So yeah, see you guys in my next episode, and love you guys. Bye.
It's all well with you.
Ooh.